you know what? If this is Satan trying to discourage me, I'm not gonna let him win. You just fired me up even more. I'm fired up. Tea of choice today. Oh my gosh! Well, so all my leaves are just swimming around. That's cool. I mean, really, at this point, all you can do is laugh at the dysfunction of my life right now. Fish this useless thing out. Okay, let's see here. Oh, of course. And of course it's too much for this cup. Of course. This was supposed to be a thing to help me relieve stress. And it reminds me of that reel of like when you're just trying to calm down and have some tea and then the whole, like you can't even like open the tea bag. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Let me get it together and I'll be back. I staged this with turmeric. There's like a halo. How do you remove turmeric stains? I know that. Well, I'm like sweating at this point. So much for a calm, unwinding video. Okay, hopefully this will help me sleep. I have a big in-person meeting tomorrow for work. Also, I have like 18 more days of work or something left, which is crazy. Hold on. It's not even lukewarm. It's not even lukewarm. Oh Lord. I really want to light this candle, but I think I'm at a current state where anything is risky. A simple act of lighting a candle might light my whole apartment on fire. So I'm going to refrain, even though it would be nice for the vibes. Okay, where do I begin? Well, maybe I'll start with how things are going. It's really been a challenge for me to keep up with things this month because I feel like my life just fell apart, to be honest. Health-wise and personal things, and I really felt like I was being plagued. And thankfully, I'm on the upward trend in a way, like at least physically. And you know what I was thinking? Okay, this is so off the cuff that it'll probably be useless, but I'm like just doing the thing. I'm just gonna record this video. Okay, here's a tip. If you're like me and you're really bad at memorizing scripture and you make a goal to memorize scripture, be so intentional with what you memorize. Don't just memorize the ones that are like top verses to memorize or popular ones that people like, the pet verses. Do ones that you know you will need in the time of need. Think of yourself in advance. Know where your struggles are. Know what you're going to need in case of emergency, okay? You got your emergency number, but you need your emergency verses, your emergency verse kit. Man, like even from last year, the verses that I decided to memorize, knowing where I would potentially be eventually, or if I were to embark on this crazy journey where I would need faith and I would need spiritual protection and all this stuff, I thought in advance of the verses I would need in that season, and they have been a lifeline. A lifeline. I think the one that was actually my first verse I tried to memorize, and the fact that I can just think of it and it just comes to mind. And because I've been working on that one the longest, it's like the most natural in my mind about spiritual warfare. That has been so game-changing to just recite in my mind whenever I feel discouragement or whenever I know that I'm trying to work for a certain mission for the kingdom and there are forces against this, okay? Ephesians 6:12, like, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. It's so true. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, over the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Like, oh my goodness, being reminded of that constantly is so helpful, because when I am in a season of feeling like, man, I want to take these leaps of faith and I want to follow God and I want to live all in for him, Satan don't like that. He really don't like it. And the timing is always so uncanny. Every time I'm about to embark on this new leap of faith and I make the decision and I'm like, let's go, I always have a season of being plagued with the most random, okay, it's not like super random, but it is kind of random. My hives outbreak was super random. These random things, HOA gets on me about something that they were fine with for a year, and then suddenly they're like threatening me with fines because of some small thing I have on my balcony. Just like random. And what's been really helpful in this season is just being reminded. I read this book, David Powlison, one of his publications that came out somewhat recently after he passed away, about spiritual warfare. And it's breaking down, I can't even remember now. I think it's the Ephesians passage about spiritual warfare. And that, on top of just being reminded of Ephesians 6 and my memory verse, and also listening to Jackie Hill Perry, and she will randomly give these Insta stories and comments about spiritual warfare, because I mean, that lady, I can't imagine the kinds of attacks she receives spiritually just because of what she's doing for the kingdom. Like, I just can't even begin to imagine. But she was saying, whenever you're going to do anything of spiritual significance, expect the attacks. But also, and this was a point in Powlison's book, you also have to be mindful of, even if spiritual attack is a real thing and spiritual warfare is a constant thing we're battling as Christians, the key thing is like, where is your mind focused on? Are you so preoccupied with the devil's work and what he's doing in your life and others' lives? Or are you just aware of that battle taking place and you're actually focused on the Lord and what he's doing? So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, right? Like, where is your mind preoccupied on? Be aware that Satan be working. He's working. And the more of a threat you are to him, the more a ministry or a missionary or whoever is a threat, the attacks will be so real and so crazy. But don't be preoccupied with that. Just like for me, what I've been trying to do in these weeks is like, I'm channeling that. That's going to get me fired up. I'm like, you know what? The devil trying to be putting me down or discouraging me. It's funny because the things he's been plaguing me with, and maybe it's the Lord too, because I need some sanctification, but it's funny because it's things that it's like an inside joke. Like, oh, he knows the things to pick at. Or if, like, on the flip side, the Lord's using it for good too, right? So it's like, oh, the Lord knows the things I need sanctification in. And so I know it's not going to mean anything to anyone, but I've had this battle with my skin, particularly like acne on my face. I've had this whole struggle with beauty since I was a child. And I think people don't really get the extent of it, because people who get to know me now, they're like, oh, you look normal, or you look fine. When I wear makeup, it's like, oh, you look pretty. But people don't know the struggle. So I will delve more on that in a future video. But for now, I will just say skin, my facial skin was a huge point of obsession for me, because my skin was so bad. And I was so insecure about my mild acne on my face. I would do anything. I was making a lot of money in high school tutoring. I was making like $200 a week almost tutoring, or every other week, every other week. I don't know. And once I had that money, I was investing in fixing my skin. I like learned all about skin. I learned about the whole shebang, your skin cycles, the pores, the oil cleansing, the chemicals, alpha hydroxy acid, like salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide. Like, I was learning all the things about skincare and the drugs available and all this stuff. And girl was obsessed with trying to get clear skin. It took me years. It took me until college to find out what worked for my skin. And then my skin was so much better. But little did I know I was also destroying it at the same time. And now I think I'm more balanced. Like, now I kind of figured out, actually, I take that back. I figured out what my skin needs, but then it changed again because I'm aging and now it's acting all different and weird. Anyways, I say all that because one of the several plagues that happened amidst my chronic hives breakout, in which I literally had this burning eczema like rash that started in my torso and just spread all over my chest, all over my back, all up my neck. And then it would go to my arm, my inner thighs. Like it was like just spreading. And then it would come up onto my face and I would feel it. And in my face, it would show up differently. It looked like eczema. It was covered here with eczema, dry, leathery, peeling, itchy, red, raw. And I couldn't wear makeup for a month. That's the longest I've gone without wearing makeup, which is really like, even when I lived in Africa, I wore at least some levels of BB cream and maybe did my eyebrows or something. So I just thought it was really funny that that was the thing that was attacked among other things. That's just one example. It's like all these things that brought me back to things that I had struggled with before to a huge extent. And it's funny because I almost feel like I mean, knock on this fake wood, I almost feel like I passed the test because these would have been things that would have driven me crazy back then. On top of that, I had this huge eye sty. It's still healing. It's like a little there, but it's pretty much gone. It was so persistent. It was there for weeks and it was pretty big. I was so insecure about my face and makeup back in the day that it's like, even if I had an eye sty, let's say, or something, I would still put on makeup knowing that that's not the best thing. It's going to infect it. Like, what are you doing? That's not rational. I would still do it for the looks. And then I suddenly went into this plague mode where I couldn't even wear clothes because it was so, my body was so raw, so itchy. Whatever would be the least touching my body was what I would wear, like no bras, nothing. Like I wanted to just wear a garbage bag that was floating above me. Couldn't put anything on my face. Everything was triggering this histamine reaction. My body was freaking out. And it was just these ups and downs. Oh, I just had so much empathy in that season, in this past month, for people who have eczema and have to deal with this on a regular basis. I have a pretty high tolerance for pain and for irritation, but I was up all night on some nights just because of how itchy and burning and raw everything felt, and nothing can alleviate it. Times when like a Benadryl wasn't doing anything, it was like, it's funny because me crying out at night because of how itchy and raw and burning I was feeling, the kind of cry out that I had to God, it reminds me of seasons where I am in some kind of physical health crisis and there's nothing I can do and it's just so painful. When I was in Ethiopia and I felt like I was dying of something in my bed, but I couldn't go anywhere. There isn't like an emergency urgent care. There's not even legitimate doctors in my village. I just had to hope that I didn't die and that God would give me what I need, and that if or when I can go to a bigger city and get some medical care, like it would be figured out. And I just remember writhing in pain because I would get a bunch of stomach infections or these kind of things. But there were some that were really bad. And I'd be like in my bed in fetal position, just crying out to God, Lord, Lord, help me. Oh my gosh. The season of random plagues just felt like a flashback of various seasons of my life. And in that way, it was good. A reminder of how God carried me through and about how there are certain things I stopped caring about. It's almost like he did these flashbacks to show me how far he's grown me and taken me. And I didn't even care going to church with pretty much no makeup on, which I've never had to do that. I've never really had to. The only time I remember doing that, the last time I remember doing that is in college, like in 2010 or 2009 or something, where I had some bet with a friend where he said, I'll stop smoking for a month if you stop wearing makeup for a month. And that was a big deal. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. I'm blabbing. Anyways, all this to say, it's been a month. It's been a long month, but this season of plagues has just fired me up. I was really going through it. A lot of tears because of other things that have happened. And, no questions of why, though. No questions of why to God about things, because I trust him. But I was going on a walk outside once when it was semi-sunny, and I was like, I don't know if it was the music I was listening to or what it was, but I got fired up. I was like, you know what? If this is Satan trying to discourage me, I'm not gonna let him win. I was like, you just fired me up even more. I'm going at it all in, I'm fired up. And so that's where I am right now. I'm fired up. It kind of feels like I've had some inaction on the video front, but behind the scenes, I'm like, let's go. Let's get to work. And also, now that my hours have dropped down this week to half time, I'm like, okay, let's go. I only have a couple or few more weeks of work. I gotta ramp that game up. So that's where I'm at. I'm ready. And watch me be plagued for another 6 months. But that's something I also realized, you know what? There's going to be the plagues. There's going to be the spiritual attacks. There's also going to be the major sanctification and the refining by fire that I need maybe for my next season. And so I need to be prepared for that. And I'm amping up the scripture memory. The more that I've had this mental clarity from everything else I've been fixing in my life. Oh my gosh, I haven't even drank my tea. It's like cold now. But as I've been getting more mental clarity, ramping up my verse memorization and everything, it's becoming easier. And I'm like, all right, I need to get my emergency verse kit ready because there's a lot that's about to go down in the next few months. And I need to be spiritually prepared for that. So anyways, this was just kind of a random blabbing video, but more to come. More to come because I'm fired up. I'm not letting Satan try to discourage me from my mission. And I'm more focused than ever because God has stripped a lot of things out of my life and it's good. It's all for good. So anyways, if you're going through anything, if you're about to if you're about to take some major leap of faith, get your scripture passages ready and also be ready. Be ready for that time of discouragement. I'm going through the Old Testament and in Numbers right now, and those Israelites, that amnesia is so real. As much as I'm judging them, I'm like, we are the same. We are the same, and the Lord is constantly like, how can you forget who I am? How can you forget who I am and what I've done? I'm gonna give you that quail from the sky, and you're gonna get so nauseated from that meat fest that that part just cracks me up. I know it's so bad because people died and stuff, but it just, I don't know. I was like, wow, this is human nature. Anyways, my next video, I'm going to be talking about stewardship of the mind because that's something that I've been thinking about a lot these days, especially with a lot of horrifying things we're reading in the news and all of that. I think it's good to be informed, but sometimes there's a limit to a point where it's not helpful. And you gotta guard your mind and your heart and focus on what's lovely and noble and good and pure and things of the Lord rather than all this chaos we're seeing around us. So that's for next time. But until then, I'm gonna enjoy my cold tea and go to bed so I could be mentally clear for my intense meetings tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Good night, guys. Bye.